Hey guys, it's Danny. We're back. Hopefully this time for good. We are going to attempt to make a video today, and what we're going to take a look at are the 10 Oncidiums that we repotted about a couple of weeks ago. If you missed that video, well, we did a marathon repotting. Check it down below in the description. We saw different orchids in different stages of health. Well, today we're going to see how they did. You'll see some of them are doing better than others. It's normal. And I hope this will give you an idea of what to expect with potential orchids you might have in the future. Before we start the video, a little update on my little Bendy. Thank you guys so much for your wishes, and I'm happy to say Bendy is doing a lot better. This time we went to the medic, we changed his diet. I'm not going to talk about it right now because we're not exactly sure what hurt him. I have my theories, but anyway, we're still keeping him under observation, but now I can take breaks. He's okay. And I hope this was the end of it. I hope he's gonna be okay now. As I was saying, we completely changed the brands we use and his diet and things of the sorts because apparently it was something he ate. And we cannot really tell if it was a seed, a pellet, something, I don't know. And with that said, another thing before we start, today is a free day and my neighbors are home and their favorite pastime is to just make noise because. So those are my neighbors, please excuse them, I have no control over them. Let's just take a look at the orchids now, shall we? Okay, so we're gonna take them one by one in no particular order, but I will do something. I will put the orchid on one side of the screen and how it looked like 2 weeks ago on a corner of the screen, and try to make some comparisons. Let me remind you what I did. I repotted them, changed the medium, obviously, sprayed hydrogen peroxide on the root system, and also sprayed them with my DIY miticide insecticide solution. If you don't know what my solution is, check it down below. I make it myself. It is not toxic. And it's made with household ingredients, more or less. So with this in mind, let's see if we have any changes. See what I mean? When they talk, it's like they shout, and I don't know why. Anyway, so this is Vilstacara Melissa Brianne Shady Lady. Alrighty, so if I remember correctly, this one was not in super bad shape in comparison to others. We also had a new growth here, and ever since I repotted it, I do see new roots, or actually the existing roots just growing. I'll give you a better close-up. I also see that on this side I have another new growth developing. The orchid itself looks pretty good. The pseudobulb is a little shriveled, to be expected. I don't think it shriveled a whole lot though. These orchids were already in pretty bad shape. Let me give you a close-up. So here we have the root being produced and it's going in the medium. I don't want to disturb it, but it's there. And again, if I remember correctly, this orchid did have a few roots, so it's not like it was completely rootless. But yeah, it didn't have a lot of roots. So far, so good. This is one of those orchids which had quite a nice evolution. None of these orchids is completely healthy as far as I remember. They were all suffering to some extent, but definitely some are better than others. I did not see any pest or anything of the sorts with any of them. I did cut the flower spike with all of them just to give them more energy, and you can see on this one the flower spike is yellowing off. I'm going to keep it on the orchid just because it keeps it stable, and then at some point I will remove it. But anyway, I think she's doing pretty great. I think this one has no issue, and by the way, this is a bit of sphagnum moss. It wasn't a pest or anything, I just saw it now. Alrighty, let's continue. Next up, this is the Allosaurus Peggy Ruth Carpenter gem. What a beauty this one is. Well, this is one of those which really didn't have a good root system. Let's just make a comparison. I don't think things went very bad, but we do have more shriveling on the pseudobulb. It is to be expected. If you remember, I left some roots on this orchid in the hopes that some of them will be alive. I kind of doubt any of them are alive. Let me just show you what's in the pot. So here we are, you can see the roots that I left. There aren't many of them though, so they really don't look alive. This one definitely is not alive anymore, so I doubt that there's anything helping the orchid there. So right now I am debating actually going back, removing them really fast, putting the orchid back again, because this new growth is actually producing a new root, or actually a couple new roots. Do you see them there? There you go. I think you have a good view of it now. It's right under the new growth. So to be expected, with something like this, the recovery will take quite a long time. This new growth will be kind of tiny, but it's going great. The new growth has started to produce roots. That's good. So I am kind of still debating if I should go back or not, because I did not leave a whole lot of roots, if I remember correctly. I don't know. This is an orchid that I really care for, and it's one of those finicky ones. If it was a wildcat, I would go in, chop off everything, and repot the orchid. But since it's the Bellara Peggy Ruth Carpenter gem, I have reservations. I think I'm just gonna leave it like this for now, repotted in a year. This one is what I believe to be the Allosaurus Glacier, the white variety, or one of the varieties that I didn't see on the market before. This one doesn't really appear to have done much. This one kind of staled up until now. I think I might have some new roots being produced here. Let me just give you a side-by-side. You should have it on the screen right now. I don't feel like anything happened. So you will have sometimes those orchids which just take more than others. I do have this question popping up in my comment section quite a lot of times. How much do I need to wait until I see some signs on my orchid? Well, it really depends on the orchid. It can take a week, it can take 1 month, it can take 3 months even. So with this one, no signs of actual growth just yet. I took a sneak peek in the pot, but I don't see anything growing. I don't see any roots dying. And with the new growths, I don't see anything happening just yet. So with this one, the situation is not so dire. You can see the pseudobulbs are a little shriveled, but not all that much. So I do believe she will pull through, but she is taking a little bit longer to move. Next up, this is the yellow one that I had no ID for. In the meantime, one of you guys helped me out, and I do believe this is the Odontiora Quedlingberg. Why do I have a sensation that I misspelled the name? I'll check it out, we'll see. So let me give you a side-by-side. I don't think there is much change going on. The orchid is still looking okay. There is a little bit more shriveling, but not a whole lot. We still have the new growth, and I really cannot tell right now if it grew. I will see the footage myself when I edit it, and I will see if it grew, but so far, not a whole lot happening. So let me just take a quick sneak peek in the pot. Okay, so I don't actually see new roots, but I do have a few roots that look alive, look okay. It's just that I don't think I have a lot of roots to hydrate the orchid. It's okay though, soon enough new roots will be created from this growth. So this one, let me show you the top as well, is looking pretty okay, but again, one of those that is moving a little slower. Next up, this is the Melissa Brianne variety dark, and again with this one I don't see much change happening. Let's just take a look. This will be interesting for me to see as well, and since I don't have the video in front of me right now, I cannot tell, but I really don't think anything dramatic happened. I don't see new roots on the new growth just yet, but things are not looking all that bad for this one, so I do believe she will be okay. I don't remember if this one or the other one had the better root system. I think the other one, although with this one, I thought, oh, this one looks so much better than the other one, but the root system was really in poor shape. So appearances were a little misleading with this one, but I'm still hopeful. I don't see anything super bad happening with this one. Next up, this is the Allosaurus Snowblind. I think in that video I said it was Winter Wonderland. Well, I did a little bit of digging. I had a confirmation from one of you guys as well. I do believe it's the Snowblind. Very similar, let's say, patterns and colors, but a little bit of a different shape and texture, or actually vigorousness or grandness. I'm running out of words right now. Let's just take a small comparison. I did cut the flower spike on this orchid as well, but I did so recently because the flowers were just in such good condition. The orchid herself is in pretty good condition. Well, don't imagine she's spectacular, but still I don't have any shriveling, particularly on this pseudobulb. Let me just turn her around. There you go. This is a new pseudobulb, which I do believe grew a little bit more, and I don't see shriveling on it. Well, not a whole lot. So I do believe we do have a few roots helping the orchid there. We could use some more. I decided to cut the flower spike just because I wasn't really enjoying it. If I know the orchid is sick, I'm not enjoying the flowers somehow. I just want the orchid to be healthy, and then I will enjoy the flowers. I'll be happy to keep the flowers. With this one, it was like, yes, I like the flowers, they're beautiful, but oh, I want to cut that flower spike so bad because I want the orchid to be happy. I know she's not happy. So that's pretty much how I I work with orchids. That's why I'm so happy to cut flower spikes. I just feel like they're struggling when they're not healthy. Anyway, this one will be just fine. This is a new pseudobulb, which I am checking for spikes. It might want to spike. I will cut the spike. I'm not gonna let it flower right now. She needs more roots. In the back, we do have a shriveled pseudobulb, so she's not completely healthy. So no point for the flower because it would just make me cringe, I guess. Next up, this is the Allosaurus torero, that beautiful Allosaurus, which actually looks a lot like a brassia. And this was one that had no roots, 0 roots. Let's just make a little comparison. I don't think much changed. She was shriveled back then as well, and I don't think she shriveled all that much. She's conserving her energy very well, especially for an orchid without any type of single root. But looky here, what's happening at the base. Can you see? This eye has started to take off. We will have a new growth, hopefully new roots pretty soon. I doubt this growth will produce any more new roots. All of these orchids had snails, and some of them had serious snail damage. All of the new roots the growths created were munched off, so that's the issue and the risk with snails. If you have all of these spaces which are available for roots being compromised by snails, then this growth will not be able to produce any more roots. And if you don't have any roots inside the pot to branch out or to absorb water, then you can see how snails can actually completely destroy an orchid through the root system. So I did make sure to remove the snails and their eggs, as you know. And I don't know if this one will create new roots, but this new growth is looking very promising. Look at that. She grew quite a lot. This wasn't here, if I remember correctly. So I'm happy with the evolution of this one. But yeah, she's not out of the woods. I think this one will be the most sit back out of all of them. Actually, no, I think this one will be the most sit back because this is just one lonely pseudobulb. So I didn't put a tag on this one. I don't know, did I ID it? It's the pink something that looks like a Wilsonara or a Odontioda, as the new names are. Anyway, it's a single pseudobulb because the one behind it was starting to rot. This was a very interesting case actually, so do check out the description down below if you want to see it. Well, looky here. Oh, hold on, we need to make the comparison first. So I do believe it shriveled a little bit more since the first time we saw it, but I also don't remember it to be super shiny and glossy and plump. So to be expected, this is a pseudobulb without much roots. Actually, I think it didn't have many roots. I left on the orchid as many as I thought could help, but yeah, this is not a rooted orchid. So today, look at her. She is growing a new growth right here, and the new growth is taking off. This is what will create a new root system. And so far, it is looking pretty great. This is not completely dry yet, so I'm gonna leave this little sheath. I'm not gonna damage the new growth to remove it. But yeah, this one is doing great. She will be saved. So even though this is not a back bulb, it's actually a front bulb, you can actually grow orchids from front bulbs as well. If they're not completely mature, it will be a little harder and a little risky. But definitely, if you're only left with one pseudobulb, which is new, mature, but new, definitely don't throw it away. It can sprout. It can actually revive the orchid. Second to last orchid, this is the Odontioda styrbake. Sometimes I use these stakes not necessarily to pin something, but to lean something on them. So this one I remember had a few roots, but just a few, I think 2, and she's very unstable. I didn't pin it in any way because we have the flower spike, which is gone now. Anyway, let's just make a little comparison. Nothing much changed. She became a little bit more shriveled, I think, but we do have some progress on this orchid as well. Take a look here. I do remember last time I did see a new growth, but it was much tinier than this. And this new growth is sprouting from an older pseudobulb. This is the one which was in bloom when I purchased it. I don't see a new growth on it just yet, and I'm trying to speak over the screams. So here we go, a new growth, which is developing really nicely from the back bulb. That can happen as well. So back bulbs do have their purpose, and sometimes they can grow a new direction. So don't cut the back bulbs if you really don't have to, if you don't have rotting going on or things of the sorts. So I do believe this one will be okay as well, and I like how she's doing. And the last orchid, this is the Allosaurus Eurostar. This was an interesting case as well. So First off, side-by-side comparison. I do believe with all of these orchids we have a little bit more shriveling. That's absolutely normal. They will go through this period of just looking a little bit bad until they look good. But the most interesting thing with this orchid, if you remember, we had a broken new growth, which didn't look so good, but I left it on. This was the broken tip. Well, looky here, we grew this leaf a little bit more, and inside, take a look, we have a new leaf here. So this new growth will be just fine. It will have something missing. I believe the tip of these leaves. Let me just show you a little bit a pseudobulb. If you see, the first leaves that form when a new growth grows are these leaves, the side leaves. And then the last ones are the top leaves, and inside the pseudobulb will form. So what broke here are the tip of the side leaves, not the pseudobulb itself necessarily, not the core. The pseudobulb will be formed here at the base. So the new growth was actually perfectly fine. No need to remove it. I do see this one is growing as well. So I will have two directions of growth on this orchid. It will be set back. That's a given with all of these orchids, but I'm happy this growth didn't die off. Alrighty guys, so that's about it for today. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I will keep you up to date with the Oncidiums, but also with Bendy Bird. I'll tell you, when all of this goes away, I'll tell you what was wrong with him so far. I'm not completely sure. We're not out of the woods yet, so no point in talking about it. But yeah, it was just the worst of timing. I spent all of my time with him, although I should have spent it with family. I didn't. I chose him. But luckily they were very understanding. So yeah, hopefully things will be okay from now on. And thank you guys so much for understanding as well. It's a little bit of a pressure, I have to tell you, when you do YouTube and you have a schedule, when you take time off. I, at least, but I'm sure other YouTubers as well, we are very, very concerned that, oh my goodness, people will unsubscribe because I don't post, and then the YouTube algorithm, you know, it's a little bit of a pressure. But thank you guys for understanding. I'm doing my best to help out my little bird and do YouTube as well. I have to do it because it's my source of income and I need to pay for his meds. So yeah, it's a vicious cycle. But anyway, fingers crossed that the nightmare is over and we can all just be happy from now on. And with that said, you know the drill. Like, dislike, subscribe to my channel for more regular videos. Check out the merch store if you want to help the channel out. And with that said, I'll see you guys next time, hopefully soon. Bye. Bye.